President if he's going to go sit in the Oval Office and play Mario. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment on the budget? Mr. Trump, I'm sure you have a comment on the budget.
We need to bring jobs back from Japan and China. So many people are going over to work. We need to make a dynamic economy for what we have right now.
Are you saying your multi-billion-dollar companies have not outsourced any jobs to China or overseas?
Well, they have, but the fact that they have.
Sounds like a hypocrite to me.
With
Nobody else but.
Obama's laws and what he's doing right now, $19 trillion in the hole. What's there to do to make jobs? Nothing's being created.
I'd like to.
Go ahead.
I think we should raise minimum wage. You know, right now it's causing an economic disaster. We also have to stop borrowing money from other countries, let alone countries that don't like us. Taxing, borrowing, and spending money is not the way to fix our budget, federal budget. It is instead killing our budget more than anything.
We can't raise taxes or minimum wage. What? Prices are skyrocketing. Look over what would it be, West Coast. They have like $10 minimum wages, and their prices are huge compared to what we're paying down in Iowa.
I mean, it goes to McDonald's workers wanting $15 an hour. They don't realize that if we make the minimum wage higher, prices go higher.
McDonald's
and it's the
losing
same
money.
Senator Rubio, I have a question. What exactly do you think a fair minimum wage price would be?
You know, I don't know that for sure, but you know, we definitely need to raise it.
So you're
because-
proposing this,
I'm
but you
sure
have
I'm
no-
sure your economic staff member has been taking a look at that, of course, right? Your
Yeah,
campaign?
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's talk about just general national security. Okay. We are seeing more and more from ISIS in Iraq. In the last week, they attacked and killed over 90 people in suicide bombs. We've seen ISIS attacks here in this country. How do we deal with ISIS? Mr. Cruz.
Well, I like to compare ISIS to a fire. Any wildfire once was a small fire, and ISIS right now is a small fire that is not being controlled. And until we control and extinguish that fire is going to spread out, and it's become a bigger problem than it already is now. And we're being the same boat we were in the last 11 years fighting in the Middle East. But if we learned anything in the Middle East, that fighting there, it's not working the way it has to work. We fought there for 11 years fighting insurgents with guerrilla warfare, with strict rules of engagement. I'm willing to give them more lenient rules of engagement to do what's necessary to run out ISIS, to bring peace to the Middle East, and also by keeping our men and women safe, using airstrikes. Tactics that don't involve sending our men and servicewomen into the combat zone and bringing them home safe.
In addition to what he said, I totally agree with. We need to strengthen the Kurdish military, which is currently fighting them. We need to strengthen them, take our guys off the battlefield, and send in airstrikes. We don't need to be fighting them on the ground. We can strengthen the countries around them to fight them, and then in the future we won't have to spend money and send troops to the Middle East.
You talk about strengthening these militaries in the Middle East. I think if it starts with that, it needs to start with the background checks on these people. Who's to say ISIS isn't sending some of their guys into these militaries? We're giving weapons and ammunition to armies in the Middle East, and it's ending right back up in the insurgents' hands.
But
we're getting killed by our own weapons.
If we strengthen the Kurdish military, I mean, I agree, some of them are going to be ISIS infiltrators in the Kurdish military or whatever. But if we strengthen it, eventually ISIS is just going to get defeated. And then those guys in the army who infiltrated it are just going to be like, well, ISIS is gone now, I have no point of being in the military anymore. But if we can strengthen
going
them,
on for the last